William Hill Vegas sponsors Joshua vs. White on Sky Sports Box Office.
Almost good afternoon and welcome to the official press conference for a great middleweight eliminator contest. We scheduled for 12 rounds of boxing and this will be for the WBA World Championship Eliminator. The winner gets a shot at the regular middleweight world title. And of course, as you all know, coming up this Saturday night here at the O2 in London, an unbelievable great night of world-class professional boxing for your entertainment. It's a fight fan's dream from bottom to top, a great card. And of course, it's all brought to you by Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing. And I'd like to mention our great sponsors that helped put this together. And that's William Hill Vegas, StubHub, Lonsdale, and the motion picture Creed, which will be in theaters everywhere on January 15th, featuring Michael B. Jordan and Sylvester Stallone. So here to tell you about the middleweight championship, the middleweight championship eliminator contest we have coming up as a co-feature on Saturday night's card. Let me bring to the microphone at this time Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing.
Thank you, Michael. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here as always. And what that means when Michael Buffer is in the house, that we have a hell of a night for you on Saturday night at the O2. It's a night of boxing euphoria. It's one of the best cards I feel has been put together in this country, and I'm so excited to bring you all a press conference here today. Our first press conference features two fights that are absolutely integral in their weight divisions. Firstly, a final eliminator for the WBA middleweight world title between Chris Eubank Jr. and Spike O'Sullivan. Also on this table, a fight which is a wonderful fight for the lightweight division, for the WBA interim world title between Kevin Mitchell and Ismael Barroso, who will have to challenge the WBA champion Anthony Crolla shortly after. Just a quick word for a few people on the table, introduce you, and then I'll talk more about the show. Down on the far left, it's been a great pleasure to work with Greg Cohen on this fight. Next to him, the very dangerous, the very talented, number one ranked WBA lightweight in the world, Ismael Barroso. Next to him, a guy who's lighting up the Boston fight scene. We had some great work with him for the James DeGale and Andre Durrell card, and that's Ken Casey. To his right, one of the top trainers in the world today, a guy who comes to Saturday night with a lot of belief in his charge, and that's Pascal Collins. Spike O'Sullivan, the man that's worked hard to get this fight and now has a huge opportunity ahead of him. Seen him have some wonderful performances on both sides of the Atlantic recently, and is one fight away from challenging Daniel Jacobs for the WBA world title. Down on the end, in my opinion, one of the most talented lightweights and certainly one of the most likeable men in world boxing, that's Kevin Mitchell, who has a fight against Ismael Barroso on Saturday night, which is one of the fights on the card. Next to him, again, one of the top trainers in world boxing today, recently joined up with Team Eubank, Adam Booth, someone that's been with Team Eubank for a very, very, very long time and integral to the entire setup is Ronnie Davis. Next to him, a gentleman we're delighted to welcome back from his recent travels and certainly going to be lighting up the O2 on Saturday. That's our good friend English. And of course, next to me, the former WBA interim world champion and current number one contender for the middleweight world title, Chris Eubank Jr. These two fights here are fascinating encounters and obviously hugely integral to all the fighters' careers and the divisions. Barroso against Mitchell is a wonderful fight. Not many people wanted to challenge Ismael Barroso, and if you check him out on YouTube, you'll see why. A very powerful southpaw fighter who can punch with both hands, against Kevin Mitchell, who we saw, which failing an eye injury, most believe he would have gone on to beat Jorge Linares in a Fight of the Year contender back at the same venue on May the 30th. It's one of the top fights in the lightweight division, of course, with Anthony Crolla waiting in the wings for the winner. Our co-feature event of Chris Eubank Jr. against Spike O'Sullivan, for me, just sums up what this card is all about. Bad intentions. You know, we've seen the pre-fight hype, we've seen the build-up on social media, on Gloves Are Off, which has attracted huge audience with our broadcast partner Sky already, and a wonderful opportunity to get a strong foothold in the middleweight division. We saw Daniel Jacobs just destroy Peter Quillen in one round, the winner of this fight will become mandatory challenger to Daniel Jacobs. So to talk about these two fights, firstly, I'm going to pass to Greg Cohen to talk about Ismael Barroso in this fight.
Thank you, Eddie. First, I'd just like to say how happy we are to be here. What a terrific card to participate in. Sky Sports is wonderful. Matchroom has been wonderful. And you know, for Ismael Barroso, I mean, this is a real long time coming. He's been the mandatory since April, and he was supposed to fight Derry Matthews. And unfortunately, Matthews just did everything possible to avoid fighting Ismael, ultimately vacating his title, because Ismael is just a killer, and guys don't want to get in the ring with him. And I just want to take my hat off to Eddie Hearn and Kevin Mitchell for making this fight possible. Again, you know, Ismael Barroso, out of his 18 wins, he's never lost. He has 17 knockouts. He's probably the best punching 135-pounder I've ever seen. And anybody who gets hit by Ismael, you know, they just haven't been able to take it. So I'm looking really much forward to Saturday night, and there's going to be a new champion. I'm very confident that it's going to be Ismael. And after this, we look forward to coming back and challenging Anthony Crawler. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Question for Ismael. Obviously, you've been waiting for this opportunity for a long time. Tell us about your camp and your thoughts going into the fight.
Bueno, primero que todo muy buena tarde. Claro, hemos esperado esta oportunidad como todo guerrero, como todo boxeador profesional, que cuando llega el momento hay que disfrutarla. Claro, estamos muy contentos, muy alegres por darnos esta oportunidad. A mi manager allá, a mi promotor Greg Cole, por todos aquí, y agradecido con ustedes por esta invitación.
Very happy with my training. It's gone very well. I've been waiting for this opportunity for a long time. I'm very strong, and I know that I'm going to win. There's only one winner, and it's going to be me. So Kevin Mitchell's going to have a hard fight.
Thank you, Ismael. Kevin, obviously you've studied Ismael, you're a seasoned pro now in the division, and you know you're in for a tough fight on Saturday, and one you're confident of winning.
Myself, the training camp's gone very well, it's been very hard as usual. I'm not too fight lightly in any sort of way of form. It's been a very hard camp. You know, I've inspired some great sparring partners like Luke Howells, Johnny Wilder, some middleweight punches. So basically, I've worked hard, I'll get this job done. After I get this job done, you'll see me become world champion in 2016 after I beat Anthony Crawler.
Obviously, a lot of people talking about Barroso's punch power as well. You know,
Yeah.
you've watched him, but
Yeah, I watched him, and you can knock people out at certain levels. And he could be a puncher or a world level, you don't know, but I don't think he's quite mixed at the levels I've been mixing at in the last 4 to 5 years. I think he's been knocking out mediocre sort of fighters and things like that. I think mixing at world class, you'll see a difference. And his chin's yet to be tested as well, so you'll soon see what he'd be like when he walks onto one of my left hooks, one of my right hands, and we'll see where he looks or how he looks after he walks onto a left uppercut sort of thing. So he can punch. I've knocked out more people in their fights. You can look at things like that as well. And I'm really looking on making a proper statement in this fight to show you that when I fight Crawler, it'll be a big statement to come for that fight there.
thank you. It's a
Thank you very
wonderful
much.
fight. Wonderful fight between Kevin Mitchell and Ismael Barroso for the WBA World Interim title. Now, Ken Casey, our negotiations were quite swift for this fight. It was a fight that Spike wanted, and a fight you were keen to make as well, and over from Boston for a fun weekend.
Yeah, just off the plane, happy to be here. Enjoy working with you, Eddie. And Spike's a gentleman in and out of the ring, an entertainer in and out of the ring. You know, he's my kind of guy out there working hard and shaking hands with the fans afterwards. Much like the guy I'm sitting in for, he's made his impact in Boston, and you know, it's nice to see him get a big opportunity like this, and he deserves it. And we're happy for the chance.
Seen some impressive performances from him in America. I remember the knockout in Boston on the James DeGale card was a great win, and the whole camp and the team seems confident of success on Saturday.
We're ready. We're ready to be here. I think, you know, this man likes the limelight. He's ready for it, and I'm excited to watch him fight, you know, under the lights like this, and a big opportunity, and he's ready for it.
Going to bring in Ronnie Davis. Ronnie, obviously been around the camps non-stop, and a big fight on Saturday night. Huge stage, a huge audience, and a big opportunity to move on to challenge for the world middleweight title.
Yeah, well, Chris, you're a rebel in this. You've got the rebel in this. And whatever's put in front of him, he will rise to. I firmly believe he's going to stop him in solid distance. No disrespect to Collins' camp and the boy, but I really think that Eubank is within the league for the most fighters I've seen today, and that he ought to be. He's a different class of kid. It takes someone very, very special out there to beat him, and I haven't seen that yet. So I'm looking forward to a good win.
Thank you, Ronnie. Pascal, obviously a huge fight for Spike on Saturday night. I know you guys have had a great camp.
Yeah, first I want to thank you for regarding as one of the best trainers in the world. That's a huge compliment from you, and I hope I live up to that expectation. As far as Spike's concerned, I've had Spike for 8 years. He's a pro 8 years. You know, he's been one of the top amateurs from the country. He's done it the hard way. He's called out people to get fights. He's got the fights. I mean, it's great to be part of this. I mean, to be on Sky TV, to be here in front of all these people. This is what boxing's all about. These young guys going to the gym, and eventually one day very few of them get to these big fights. And you know, no matter how you get there by calling people out or abusing people, as some people say, the fight is here now, and I'm actually so excited. I actually can't wait for this fight, because we have, you know, we knew this fight was going to happen when it was being negotiated before. We knew it was going to happen, so we've been planning for it the last 6 months. Over the last 8 weeks, we've done 5 sessions a day, 6 days a week in the gym. People say you may be burned out, but we don't do training sessions, we do practice sessions. And we've just really planned, and you know, we've left nothing to chance. We will be our best on the night. Spike will be the best Spike he can be on the night. Spike has got great power. It's his power that's going to be the factor in this fight. He's got great power. He knocks people out when he hits them. So when he hits somebody, he knocks them out. But I'm just excited because, you know, I can see what's going to happen already. And you know, I also want to give a little bit, you know, respect to Chris Eubank Jr. because, you know, he's had a lot of abuse too because of who his dad is. My own nephew's in the same kind of boat, and you know, he does it the hard way too. And I have a lot of respect to him. He thinks he's a decent fighter. I think he's a really good fighter. I think he can become a great fighter with more experience. He doesn't have enough experience, I don't think, but I think he can become a great fighter. A lot of respect to Chris Jr. and to his dad, and to his camp, and to Adam Booth and to Ron Davis, and you know, may the best man win on the night. And hopefully afterwards they can shake hands and move on in a very professional manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Pascal. Adam, first full camp really with Chris for this fight, and I know you came over to me after the public workout earlier this week, as if to say, wow, Chris is really ready.
As a coach, you hope that you can get all the work that you need to done. You know, only pinched with the injuries and illnesses, and I'll say that his training has gone as well as I could have possibly hoped for. He's ready to fight smart and fight ferociously, and I don't think that you can prepare for the type of ferocious attacks and energy that Chris Jr. can put on people, and that will be a first experience for the people he fights.
Obviously, Pascal talks about the power, and I know that's something you'd be aware of as well, but Chris, very confident in his fight and also progressing at world level.
Which, just like skill, power has a relevance to a certain level, and once you step up to world-class fighters, you tend to find that the shots that have an impact at a lower level don't. Something we're not concerned about at all, because all we are focused on is what Chris Jr. can do, and what he can do is far too much.
Thank you. English, welcome back. Welcome back. Thoroughly enjoyed your stint out there in the jungle, and now ahead of some more serious business on Saturday night.
Yeah, while I was there in the thick jungle, it gave me time to reevaluate and invigorate, I suppose, my mindset to have a clear view of what's going on with, I suppose, Junior and the fight in front of him, where Mr. Sullivan, I saw a little clip of the two of them facing off, and Junior said he could smell fear. And I kind of sense the same thing. I just heard someone speaking over there and paying us a great deal of respect, of which sounds as though there is fear in that camp, and there should be. F. Junior, I mean, I've been away for a month, but obviously the trust I have in Ronnie Davis and Adam Booth, and the trust I have in Junior with his remarkable training efforts. I mean, one of the things the camp just said was that you've been training for 6 months. I do not disbelieve you. However, that's kind of short, because Junior has been training for 10 years, 6 days a week. We are fierce. We don't take breaks. And where giving anything away is concerned, Junior has learned the hard way, and so therefore in the future, that mistake will not happen again, the mistake he made before. So, to Mr. O'Sullivan, I will say this. Looking at your abilities, your best fight plan is about actually coming forward and throwing punches. Trying to take Junior out is probably your best chance, and it's the worst thing you can do. If you box him, it's going to be a one-horse race. If you fight him, that's going to be fireworks. So let's see who has the bigger bombs. So it's going to be exciting to see. I'm glad I'm back, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens on this special night on Saturday.
Obviously, 18,000 in the arena. This is the kind of nights we all live for, and you're expecting the best performance of Junior's career on Saturday night.
Well, he will do what he does best. He's had some really good performances. Let's see. Let's see. I think, as Ronnie says, Junior he has the ability to be in a different league to on the world stage. So, with your promotional outfit along with Unity Motion, our promotional outfit, there's a clear path for him to fight fairly to the top of the world. So let's see how the route goes.
Thank you. Spike, obviously a lot's been said, and you look in great shape, and I know you're very excited about Saturday.
Absolutely, I'm in great shape. Best shape of my life. I'm delighted to be here. Just absolutely cannot wait for Saturday. Cannot wait. Can't tell you enough how much I cannot wait to get in there. It's great to be here, see all these people. It's a dream come true for me. I just cannot wait to get there.
How important is it to take this opportunity on Saturday night? Obviously the winner goes on to fight Daniel Jacobs for the world title, and just a wonderful chance to change your life, essentially.
Absolutely. I'm going to knock out Junior on Saturday night. Go on to fulfill my destiny. I think Daniel Jacobs is a great champion, great guy that I admire. He's been through cancer, went on to become world champion. Very admirable. But unfortunately he's the champion. He has what I want. I'm coming for him.
That seems to be the plan on Saturday night. The power is what you believe will be the difference.
I'm definitely not come on with it. Cannot wait to get out there and see all those people climbing that ring and knock Junior out. Cannot wait.
You could knock out a fart, Gary.
Sorry Chris, I can't understand you. What's that?
Okay, I'm going to pass over to Chris Eubank Jr. now to say a few words about the huge fight on Saturday.
I'm ready. What more can I say? I've said everything I've previously in the last press conference, and the gloves are off show. I think I've said everything I can say. I'm confident. I believe that Gary's in too deep. He's talked himself into a situation where he's set up for a big fall. I don't think he's prepared. I don't see any confidence.
Knock you, Chris.
Chrissy. I don't see any type of preparation. When I'm looking at him, he just seems like he's kind of
he's lost like a rabbit in the headlights.
Like you were last week when your daddy was in the jungle.
So, but you guys will see it. I think you guys got a taste of really what he's going to bring when, you know, with what he was saying in our head-to-head on Sky. You know, he didn't really have anything to say for himself. He looked scared to me, and you know, I took a lot from that. I took a lot from that half-an-hour session of just speaking to him and watching him. You know, he's not this dangerous knockout ice that he claims to be. He's just another guy.
Obviously, that's one thing that's been stressed, and again, there is the power. Is that part of the mindset going into this fight? Is that a concern?
To be brutally honest, nothing concerns me about Gary O'Sullivan, except for his mustache. That does concern me.
Okay, this is a fight which I can't wait for in and out of the ring. I'm sad that they actually have to hear the first bell because I've enjoyed the build-up so much. This is a wonderful time for British boxing. We see more world champions than ever, more big nights, and none of this would be possible without our exclusive broadcast partner, Sky Sports. I'm going to pass over to Adam Smith to say a few words about the show, and also I know he has some questions for the members up here on the table.
Thanks, Eddie. I'm really excited about this. I think it's a phenomenal card on Saturday night at the O2. It's an amazing arena, a great venue in London, and it's just absolutely stacked from the start, from late afternoon all the way through. But these two particular fights are fascinating because the lightweight and the middleweight divisions are just, you know, they're utterly buzzing, exciting beyond belief at the moment. With what Anthony Crolla did in Manchester the other week, I know Kevin Mitchell's destiny, his dream has always been to hold a world title, and this fight, I mean, it's almost a world title in itself, because this Ismael Barroso is a very talented guy. I've seen plenty of him on tape. He's a big puncher. He's a southpaw, and you know, like Jorge Linares, who came last night. You know, he's from Venezuela. He's had to travel, and he's had no fear in traveling. So I'm really looking forward to see how Kevin deals with it. Whether he has got the class and the experience to be able to get through that. I think it's a terrific matchup on paper. And as I said, the winner goes on to fight Crolla, so 2016 is going to be a light with the lightweights, not to mention sort of Terry Flanagan and Luke Campbell and all the others. And then at middleweight, I mean, these two, you know, the gloves are off was a fascinating show, and I'm going to ask them a bit more about that in a second. But as a match, again, it's terrific. You bring the skills, maybe the added class of Chris Eubank Jr. with the power and the adventure of Spike O'Sullivan, who I've followed for the last few years. You know, he's a dynamite puncher. He's got no fear, and I'm really looking forward to seeing whether he can bring it to Chris on the night. And you know, I see it as a fascinating match, that one. With what Daniel Jacobs did at the weekend against Peter Quillen, you know, it blows it open again. Danny Jacobs is a great guy and a great story. As Spike was saying, you know, he's surviving cancer, and it's a fantastic thing for boxing, a miracle man. And one of these guys is going to get in the ring with him next year. So I think 2016 is going to be even better than this year. Just want to ask, I want to bring the gloves are off back with Spike and Chris. Chris, you say that you've taken a lot from that. Your father was saying about the smelling fear as how you started the show. When you walked out of that, what were you thinking about Spike and after everything he said to you over the last 3 years on social media? What were your thoughts when you walked out of the building that night?
My main thought was that this man is a pretender and a fake. For him to have said the things he said to me over the last 2 or 3 years online, to then kind of be put in a room with me and have his opportunity to express everything that he's been, you know, trying to get across to me online, and to be man to man, and then to say nothing. You know, keyboard warrior. That's all I can say. You know, I took a lot of confidence away from that encounter, just for the pure fact that I just saw a lot of mental weakness in him. You know, I don't know. He actually at one point in the talk said that it wasn't really him that was doing it. It was, you know, he was just doing it just to set the fight up. It wasn't really who he was as a person. And I told him, you know, to be pretending to pretend to be a man you're not for 2 or 3 years, it's embarrassing. You know, stick to your guns. I don't think he was pretending. I think he just realizes now that he is in too deep. He is going to have to fight me. And so he's kind of trying to, you know, let's be friends. He's trying to shake my hand at the end of it. How can you try and shake a man's hand who you've been disrespecting for the last 2-3 years? You know, talking about their friends and family and their fans, and then you try and shake his hand at the end of a conversation. It doesn't make sense to me. So like I said, he needs to stick to his guns and take the beating that he's going to receive on the 12th.
Spike, are we looking at two different personalities, two different characters? You said in the show that you did that to get the fight. But you've entertained everybody on social media over the last 3 years. Do you feel you've entertained people enough in the build-up to this? Is there something different now that you've actually got the fight?
Well, I'm not a moat like you, Chris. You know, I just done it to get the fight. I explained that to you already. I'm not a moat. You're a moat. The man I am, I'm a fighting man. I'm being nervous. We're going to see who's nervous on Saturday night when we get in the ring. Look at me. Look at me.
If you tell me to do something, of course I'm not going to do it.
We'll see all about it on Saturday night. When we get in the ring, we'll see who the man is and we'll see who's afraid then.
You've shown your cards already, Gary. You're mentally weak.
I'll show you my cards on Saturday night and knock your head off. I'll stupid little chin on you. I'll knock you out. Won't even look at me, won't even stand next to me.
One thing you guys need to realize is I was watching a video of one of my previous fights against Dmitry Chudinov. That was my last proper fight. I'm not really counting my fight with Tony Jetta as it only lasted a couple minutes. But my last proper fight, I was watching it, and one of the comments underneath the video was Chris Eubank Jr.'s performance was immoral, ruthless, and without restraint. That was what this particular individual took away from my performance on that night. And Gary, you need to understand, I actually liked Dmitry Chudinov. You know, he was a good guy. You know, he was respectful. He shook my hand, and you know, best of luck. He was a likable guy.
I tried to shake your hand, be a warm man, not to shake my hand. It's personal to you. You wouldn't even shake hands with me. I tried to shake hands with you.
This man is not a likable guy.
You're not a nice guy. You're a clunker.
I have a distinct
an absolute
dislike
clunker.
for this man. So you need to understand.
You're a clown. You're an absolute clown. You're a fucking clown, man.
Water.
You know what? You said it wasn't personal. You said it wasn't personal.
It's all business.
It's all personal.
It's all business,
you
but it's going to feel extremely
you wouldn't shake my
personal
hand.
to you.
What a fool, man. Yeah, as I said, that the gloves are off. You're not the sharpest tool in the box. You're completely contradicting yourself continuously. Knock you over.
You know, I like that. I like that your trainer's not doing your talking for you this time. You know, that's nice to see. But at the end of the day, you only really have two lines. I will win and I will knock you out.
And I'll be here on Saturday night, and I'm going to knock you out, Chris.
Yeah, I think I'm going to print some T-shirts for you.
Good man.
I'll bring them to the O2 Arena on.
Good man. Do that, Chris.
On December 12th.
Make sure you get the spelling right.
Spike, Chris said that he smelt fear at the beginning of that show, and that that he's going to be the animal, that he felt in total charge of that sort of half-an-hour program. I'll ask you the same thing. When you walked out, did you feel any differently to beforehand? Did you feel that he had got an edge in the mental battle, or did it go as you expected?
Well, I think Chris had it scripted. He sat down and was told what to say before it happened. It was all pre-done before.
Did my dad tell me from inside the jungle?
What's that?
Did my dad tell me what to say to you from
Adam
inside?
Boot did.
Oh, Adam Boot?
Yeah, probably. Doesn't matter anyway, you know. I don't give a damn. I'll be here on fight night. We better believe it, and I'm going to knock you out.
Spike, let's just talk tactics. How are you going to beat Chris Eubank Jr.? He's got one defeat, as you have to Billy Joe Saunders. How are you going to go about it from the opening bell?
I'm not giving you any tactics. But what I do say is this: I'm going to land that in your chin, and I'll knock you out. Oh yeah, you better believe it. Don't hurt you.
I cannot wait.
Same, like feelings likewise. I'm going to smack you up.
Chris, then, question to you, tactics-wise, how do you see this going? Do you think this is one of the harder fights of your career or not?
It's a step up from my previous bout, but as far as it being one of the toughest fights of my career, we'll find out in the night. We'll see how much fire he really has.
Oh, we will.
He's got the fire in his mouth at the moment, which is surprising because he's been so quiet over the last few weeks. We'll see if he can bring that fire into the ring. But one thing I will say is, you know, the dedication, the training, you know, the work ethic that I have and have had leading up to this fight. You know, I'm in the best shape of my life, and it's going to take. Superman wouldn't even want to be in the ring with me on December 12th.
I am your kryptonite, Chris. I am your kryptonite. So, I'm going to knock you up.
So Gary O'Sullivan doesn't have a chance, really, in my opinion. But who knows? I guess we'll find out.
I just want to bring your dad in. It's great to see you back from the jungle. Welcome home. One thing that Spike was saying, and the gloves are off, was that the camp that Pascal and Steve have the blueprint to beat the Eubanks. What's your take on that?
My take on that is that I am not my son, and my son is not me. You know, I had a sensitive and measured approach to boxing. I worked out individuals, I played with their minds, I was not really aggressive if I wasn't pushed to be. I was a sensitive fighter, and it worked for me. But Junior is not me. You know, there are so many people who have this view that, you know, he's following in my footsteps. No. He's boxing, I boxed. He's his own man. Things are a lot easier now, as proof of what I'm saying to you, in that Adam Booth is now part of the camp, in that he has a completely different view, because Junior is so much so his own man that my words now he has. So he needs a different skill set, a different sound. We respect Adam, and so I've employed him along with Ronnie. Ronnie has actually taken it the decision has been part Ronnie's. He's his own man, and when I say he's not like me, I mean you can be using I hear the term, I'm going to knock you out, Chris. I remember Steve Collins telling me the same thing. Talking to him is like talking to a brick wall. Fighting him is also like fighting a brick wall. And I'll tell you a story. One day I put on one of these body armored things, and I wanted to feel his power. He hit me with 10 shots, and I dropped my hands and I laughed from my stomach for how hurtful the punches were. I pity the man who stands toe to toe with Junior. So let's see what happens come Saturday night. You say you're a puncher. You say you're going to knock him out. So you're going to bring a fight to him. So let's see you do that. That will be, I mean, whatever route you choose, I think he's going to cook you. And I've got salt and pepper. I do.
Pascal, Spike, what is the way? Because obviously, Steve, I think the very first fight, he knows the way to beat Chris. So.
Yeah, well, the very first fight, I was actually there on the night, and I fought on the card, and it was like a lot of mind games. And he did get under Chris's skin. He admitted it, and it was, you know, it was kind of a psychological warfare. The second fight was just down to doggedness. As Chris like referred to Steve one time, he was like a donkey. He just kept coming at him, and he did, and you know, it proves that when the mind games are gone, you got to get in there and you got to fight. Chris Jr. is, you know, we see the similarities of Chris Jr. because he's trained with the same trainer, Ron Davis, who's a great trainer, brilliant trainer. I think bringing Adam Booth in will add to his arsenal, but I think it's a little too soon. I think it takes a good year for the fighter to learn from a new coach. You know, Goody Petronelli, who, you know, trained Marvin Hector trained me, told me that it takes a good 8 to 10 years for a good 10-round, 12-round fighter. Spike has gone to his 9th year as a pro, and I'm sure Chris's dad will understand that it's not about being a good fighter, it's about being battle hardened, it's about going through the hardships, you know, over all them years of fights, falling through, you know, sitting in little dingy dressing rooms, you know, being in the tough wars in the gym, family to provide for, which Spike does have. These are the things that make a hungry fighter. You don't hear that much people talk about hungry fighters nowadays. Hungry fighter is somebody who fights to live, And you know, there's very few of them around because, you know, money is more plentiful. And Spike, in my eyes, is a hungry fighter. He's been there for the last 9 years, leaving his home in Cork every week, coming to Dublin, no money, you know, scrimping and scraping. And Spike knows that when you're in the trenches, and you will be in the trenches, he's ready for it, that he needs this more than Chris Jr. And I believe that will be the telling factor. But, you know, I wish both fighters the best. I think it's great. I think it's great that they're fighting each other, two big names. But I actually know, and I believe that Spike O'Sullivan would be too much for Chris Jr. on the night, and you know, we will not be aware of tactics, by the way. But Spike O'Sullivan will be victorious on the night.
We didn't get a handshake at the end of Gloves Are Off, but are we going to get a final message? First from you, Spike, to your nemesis down there, and then I'll ask Chris for one as well.
As always, same thing. Chris, get me a t-shirt made. I'm gonna knock you out, Chris. I'm gonna hurt you.
Don't worry, son. I'll put the salt and pepper. We're going to cook it.
Chris,
We're going to roast you, man.
We'll bring the fish and chips, you'll bring the salt and pepper, right?
My final word
That's a vinegar.
is punishment time. It's time to pay for the disrespect that you brought towards me over the last few years. It's punishment time.
Come on, Chris. Chris, who's nervous now? Look like you're poop your pants. Chris. Chrissy. Hello, Chrissy.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I am, as a fan, forget being a promoter, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for the show that kicks off at 4 o'clock, 4:15 on Saturday night, live on Sky Sports box office from 5 o'clock. String of incredible fights, and these two, Kevin Mitchell against Ismail Barroso, and Chris Eubank Jr. against Spike O'Sullivan. 3 words, bring it on. Boom! That's 4. We are breaking for photos, and then we'll set up for our second press conference of the day. Thank you so much. Plenty more to come.
William Hill Vegas sponsors Joshua vs. White on Sky Sports box office.